YouTube, I'm Brendan Manning, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make your very first iPhone app in Xcode for Mac. Now, this is going to be pretty simple, but it's going to walk you through all the basics of getting started with Xcode and with the Swift programming language. So we're going to open up Xcode. This can be found in the Applications folder on your Mac as well. And you'll see now we're going to come to the first screen. What we're going to want to do is click on Create a New Project. And under iOS over here, we're going to click Single View Application and click Next. Then we're going to title it Hello World. This will be the name of your app. If you have a domain name, for instance, brendanmanning.com, which I own, you would type that in the form of com.brendanmanning. For example, if your domain name was example.com, it would be com.example. Under language, we're going to have to select Swift, if that's not already selected. And we're going to leave all this stuff down here as it is, and click Next. Now, Xcode's going to ask us where we want to save this. Let's just create a new folder on the desktop called Hello World App. And leave Get Repository on and click Create. Now, to get started, we're going to need to set up our interface. So let's get started by going to main.storyboard. Now, once we're in our main.storyboard file, we're going to need to get started by zooming in on this right here, the view controller. And what we're going to need to do first is go on down to this button right here, the object library, a circle surrounding a square. And what we're going to do there is we're going to search for a label. Double click on this view controller, because now you can see it's selected, and drag that label in. Once that's there, we're also going to need to grab a button. So search for button and drag that in as well. Now, the first thing we're going to see if we were to run this app now is that the interface is very messed up. It doesn't align properly. So how we're going to fix this is we're going to select our label and button, go on down to the bottom here, and click the Stack View button. Now this is going to stack those two together, and we're going to need to click the button right next to Stack View and say check horizontally and vertically in container. And once that's been done, we can run the app just to make sure that it's working alright. So go up to here, select whichever device you want, and run that in the iPhone simulator. Alright, so I'm back. Simulator has launched, and now we can see that in our view controller, the label and button are perfectly centered inside our app. What this means is that now that our user interface is ready, we can start writing the code for our application. Just a word of advice, leave Simulator open even after you're done running your app, because you can run it again without having to quit and reopen Simulator. So keeping that in mind, we're going to go back to Xcode and start writing the code. So now that our interface is all set up and ready to go, we're going to need to start connecting that to the code. So let's start by just closing this menu on the side just to give us a little more space. We're going to go to that middle bar and just drag it over a little bit, get some more space. And now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go up to the top of the screen, and where you see these two circles, click on Show the Assistant Editor. And what this is going to do is it's going to show us two screens, one for our interface and another over here for the code that connects to that interface, to that view controller. And what we're going to have to do first is we're going to have to click on the label, hold down the Control, not Command, Control key on our Mac, and drag label into this other screen right above override func view did load, and release our finger on the trackpad as well as the Control key. And we're going to keep outlet, and we're going to title it Clicks Label, and click Connect. Now what we're going to need to do is hold down this button and drag that under override func did receive memory warning, and release. This time, instead of selecting outlet, we're going to select action, and we're going to say clicked button, and click OK. Now what this does is it gives us a function that's going to be run every time that button is pressed, so code that runs when the user taps that button. So just to make this a little bit easier to work with, we're going to click the standard editor, and we're going to go over here and click viewcontroller.swift. So inside this clicked button, we're just going to write a comment for ourselves that says run when button pressed. This isn't necessary, but it'll help us remember things later. Now up here, right under clicks label, we're going to click enter and type var, V-A-R, number of clicks equals 0. And then we're going to go back down to clicked button, and we're going to say number of clicks equals number of clicks plus 1. So what this does is every time that button is pressed, number of clicks gets greater. 1 is added to it, starting at 0. And what this means is that now we can update that label to show how many times it's been clicked. So under number of clicks equals number of clicks plus 1, we're going to write a comment, say update the label, and we're going to do clicks label dot text equals number of clicks. Now this has nothing to do with the variable. This is just a string, so just text that will be put onto that label, plus, so we're going to add on to the end of that string number of clicks the number of clicks variable and what that is representing, so whether it be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to come to our first error in the program. You see here it's going to say, cannot convert type of int to expected argument type string. What this means is that we're trying to add an integer onto a string, which isn't allowed in Swift. So we're going to have to cast that integer to a string by surrounding number of clicks with string, parentheses, and then an end parentheses after that. And now that will work. So if we go back to our main.storyboard, we're just going to do one last little style thing. We're going to say click me and no clicks yet. So this is what will be shown before viewController.swift does anything to update that. So we're going to run our app one last time and see how that goes. So now that our app is launched in the simulator, we can test it one last time. So we're going to see that the label and button are set to those default values we set up in the storyboard. And when we click the button, the label is going to update to show us number of clicks and then how many times we've clicked it. So if we click it again, we'll get 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Looks like that's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys have learned a lot about app development, and please stop back on my channel soon for some new videos.